you close the door? Nobody wants to ask question.
Okay, now. Thank you, Paul. It was really an interesting presentation. I know that probably all my Spanish colleagues have a lot of questions, and probably they are so shy that they don't want to ask any. But during the coffee break, I have been speaking a little bit with one of the responsible of the emergency at the Alicante airport. And I don't know if he here, Alberto. He was asking me he was telling me that he was willing to this kind of application because of all the opportunities related with the earthquake early warning and the operational airport forecasting. So maybe if you can explain with a little bit more detail how, for example, an airport can have this tool working, or how they can manage to install that kind of thing. Will be interesting.
This is like the example use case that Keith showed for the hospital. It's almost the same procedure. Usually this kind of for the hospital, it's all about the size of area of interest. So this can always be fit. So you have the instrument in your area, or either you have a platform that is installed in one of these control room in the airport, and then basically it's connected to the most. And then in case of earthquake, basically, because all what you need as information is about the earthquake, so the ground shaking. So also you have the instrument installed in many places in your area of interest, and then or you have connections to national network or regional network, then you just have to prepare all the static data, all the information about your infrastructures, you integrate it, and then whenever there is an earthquake or there is an event, then you get this information to you. And then people who are working also in the airport, they will also be connected through this to the control room through this app, the turnkey app that was developed, and then they can communicate through this during emergency.
So that means that, for example, the only thing that they need is just a control room in the main office of the airport or something like that?
Yeah, any place in the airport where they have the machine and somebody sitting there. They do have it before security, for example, purpose. They do have control room where someone from security is sitting there, and then there are other people working also in security, and they are communicating. It's the same concept, so nothing different. So the only information that you need is about the earthquake, the shake that comes, and your system is either connected to your instrument, who are putting in many places, or it's connected to the most closed regional or national network.
So on one hand, us as seismologists and my other colleagues as architects or engineers will be responsible of feeding information into the platform.
Yeah, of course, information needs to be prepared in advance.
And once the platform has received all the information, then
I think the only really site-specific information that needs to be collected is related to the infrastructures, to the different buildings and part of to the airport. Because seismology, information related to seismology, it's not changing from this place to another place, or it's covering the whole city. So And this is usually, they just simply take it from their national or regional organization, yeah, that are dealing with this kind of study. Yeah. So the only things that need to be customized are mostly the buildings or the different components of the airport, plus people, locations, the number of people who for different time windows, for instance. How many people could be at the airport, like at midnight or during the day, or right? And other information, maybe economy, or then we need also, of course, information related to the vulnerability of the infrastructures. Yeah.
And for example, thinking about the municipalities in the province of Alicante, we have recently finished the seismic emergency plan for Alicante, for Orihuela. So there have been a lot of information collected. You have seen in the examples.
Yeah.
So this is a question more for my colleagues from the municipality. Maybe Gonzalo can answer. If you think that now with all the information that we have compiled, do you think that a tool like this will be useful to manage this emergency plan in Alicante? In Orihuela?
So, do you want me to just? Yeah. Can I go back to the airport situation? So, it's very dangerous to design a solution when you've only just got a bit of the problem described to you. But I think we did look at the possibility of a major transport hub and how an end user would actually integrate the system. We unfortunately we weren't able to speak to a hub. So just to add to what Abdel said, I think there were three components when it comes to resilience of a major transport hub. There is the physical attributes, which I think have been well described. So there is the use of the sensors, both at the regional level, at the local level. One of the things that I didn't talk about yesterday is the potential to put the sensors at specific critical locations within your infrastructure. So we did talk to an organization where one of their critical risks was liquid gas around a site, and they wanted the ability to be able to isolate the liquid gas flow on receiving an early warning. And this was very early in Turkey, when at that time the business model was where a critical infrastructure would have immediate access to an early warning. It wouldn't come through the mitigation of an emergency response. It would come directly. So at the time we spoke to them, they had mechanical isolator devices switched on all of their gas lines. Now, I imagine for an airport, one of the systems would be the fuel out to the various stands. I don't know much about how airports work, but having watched them refuel planes, I suspect that would be a critical system. So depending upon how critical that system was, there would be a possibility of actually putting sensors at points along those distribution lines, so that if they got an early warning of only even a couple of seconds, you could have automatic isolator valves. So if the line became ruptured, then the damage was limited to a particular length of line. The other system would be any systems which are very susceptible to ground shaking, that have a fail-safe mode. And again, I don't know airports well, but I suggest the loading arms might be something that you could look at. So it would be a matter of breaking the operational aspects of the airport down into critical business units. And I imagine you do that for your business continuity and your disaster management plan anyway. And it would be looking then at the department level or the unit level, and making assessments of the potential risk, any workarounds, any alternative working procedures that for a short period of time could be activated to get you over the immediate response phase. So we looked at a hospital, and one of the things that we looked at it there was about patient transfer, about how you could temporarily move patients and when you should move patients and shouldn't move patients. So again, you've got passenger flow. Now, at what point you could control passenger flow and how much time you would require to control passenger flow, I don't know, but that would be something that you would need to look at, probably in conjunction with experts outside of the turnkey platform, to look at a number of sort of scenarios. Well, what could you do if? And then there's the whole communication. So it's after the earthquake, it's when you're trying to recover business and you want to manage that external communication flow. So again, it's about those softer parts of the system. Could you put the whole of your emergency and disaster management plan within turnkey? I doubt it. The amount of effort to instigate all of that would be very large. Could you put the critical parts of a disaster management plan in? Well, I hope you could. Where does that line come? That's a judgment for the individual operator to say. So, yes, there's the technical stuff, but actually I think it would take you far more time to think through and to integrate the operational aspects of the disaster management. Does that give you a slightly wider answer to the question? And I'm sorry if I completely misunderstood how an airport works.
Usually, I would assume that usually infrastructures like airport, they already have kind of sensors deployed in many places. And one of the other things that you can do is, as one of the inputs is, you can already define, integrate predefined mitigation action and how this action can be done, because then there is this decision maker system that can help and give you a different solution, and what would be the cost of those solutions. So this is also an extra services that you can get. Yeah. But the information that platform is giving you is so sensitive to the input data, the quality of the input data. Yeah. And you always need people in field in place to check and verify, because all the assumptions that we are put, they do have some kind of limitation. This is obvious. Yeah.
No. Hi. Well, answering your question, Sergio, I think that in the emergency contract management, this platform could be really useful in terms of, it's true that we have in our plan different scenarios that it makes us be concerned of what could happen. But I think that the interesting part of this program is that it brings out in real-time information that is feeding this model continuously. So I think it could be really useful, and especially I also liked the way that we could connect with the on-site teams. You know, there's a lack of information transfer sometimes, and I think this could be a good tool for that. So yes, I think it could be really useful. Yeah.
I think the keywords that we have used for the project Turnkey, it was all about improve the quality of information, because this is the key for during emergency. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
One aspect we have not discussed at all is all of this is of course very much dependent on redundancy. So we have to think also when one is installing it, what happens if some of the communication is not working. And one thing is, for example, that now we presented how much maybe computer capacity one is needing for this part and this part and this part. In a final installation, one would of course try to concentrate all this in one computer, where one maybe have a reserve computer beside at another place which can jump in if something goes wrong. But that one is not depending on that the computers have to communicate over computer lines and so on, so that all the capacity of the calculations are done at one place to make the thing more stable when it is installed. And such things one has, of course, also when it comes really to a real implementation, one has to take such things in account.
No? Okay. What I would like to understand is on the sensor part, how many sensors may be interesting you need in an area like the province of Alicante, for instance, to have the system working properly. This is the first question, maybe for Bernard. It's 1 through 10 sensor. And the other one is, what do, if I can connect to the seismic network, national seismic network, what do I miss if I don't have the Turkey sensor? It's clear the question is,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, when it comes to the number of sensors, yes, this is linked to the size of the area that you want to monitor. I don't know exactly. I don't have really specific number. What is the minimum number of the sensors? But it is also linked to the site condition distribution, how the site change from place to place. Yeah. So the more you have the sensors that covers the details of site condition, the best will be your estimated ground shaking distribution, right? So if you have 3 sensors, then of course you get a result, but the result will be very low in terms of quality, especially if you have a huge distribution or huge change in site condition. Right. What was
If I have the connection with the national seismic network,
yeah.
do I need the Turkey sensor or for having early warning or not?
You always need extra information that comes from outside of your own network, because it helps you to better observe the event, the earthquake event, and also improve the quality in terms of location and also the impact of that earthquakes. Yeah.
In the test bed in Bucharest, we have extra installed and tried to find out how it is with wrong place. How is it with buildings, critical buildings, and we have installed sensors inside of buildings. It's of course very much depending on how much critical infrastructure, how much critical buildings you have in your region, so that you have information what was going on this bridge or whatever, yeah, and so that you directly see there was so big shaking at this bridge, you have to be careful to use it longer, yeah, or it looks like there was no big shaking and it's safe, and it's very much depending on the regional situation. And there, of course, it's very much depending on the knowledge of the people who are living there and know where it is to implement. I don't expect that one could install the whole platform for a huge region, because there are so many individual information needed that you get good results for a region or for an area, for a town, for, let me say, a smaller province or so. And then running a different installation, let me say, than in the province of Barcelona or Madrid or whatever. Yeah, and running this in parallel and not trying to have now one installation which is covering whole Spain or so. This I don't think will work. Yeah, because the weighting and this decision support system which gives the platform all the information is so much depending on the pre-knowledge, Yeah, what was presented here by Abdel, that you have to give the information in how many buildings are here under this and this architectural conditions, yeah, and this gives you some information how dangerous is the earthquake or not, but one cannot collect all this information for the whole country in one system. This is then not longer manageable. So I think it will go in the direction of installations at specific places, either around a critical infrastructure or a region or a town, and then one can put in from the local knowledge as much as possible in, and then you will also get most of it out of it.
If I may add also about the building, if you are talking about putting sensor of the buildings, how many sensors, this is definitely depend on how homogeneous are the buildings in the area. If you have like buildings which can be classified into 5 typology or 6 or 7, then you need definitely less number of sensors than in case of you are in city where the buildings can change dramatically in terms of typology. And then it will be really much difficult to get a better prediction of the seismic performance of the whole building stock. So yeah, it also depends on this, the urban characteristics. Yeah.
That confirms what we're saying basically is something I was asked is who decides where to put the sensors, and can the end users be involved in that decision?
No, end users, they don't need to be involved in this because it needs someone with expertise who understand the building classification, the structural characteristics. So obviously the best candidate will be engineers to go into field and then looks at the building stock, and then they can decide where to put the sensors, yeah? Okay. Because, for instance, I have 10 buildings or wherever, they all have the same typologies, then I put one sensor to, and then the result I got on it connected to the site condition, I will somehow can be use it to predict the same thing for the other buildings that are part of the same typology. And users doesn't need to understand all the inputs data, or they doesn't need to contribute in collecting data or making data. So it's need an expert who can provide this data to them and then put it in.
Okay, so that is something that will need to be communicated to the end users, because it's a question.
Because end users, they don't have the technical knowledge to do this, so and they don't really need it to do that.
Bear in mind that there are specialist users, so some people do understand the technical side of things. So yeah, it's communication that needs to be given.
Yeah, okay. I'm staying here.
Because I was remembering yesterday we had a small conversation with the people from the military emergency unit.
Yeah.
And they were telling us that they were very interested in the scientific part of the Turkey, of the engine, but they have their own emergency tool and emergency protocols, and they were thinking more about an integration of the scientific part with their own protocols. So now I'm thinking on our Spanish municipality, and maybe they can answer me and provide us information regarding that. For example, in the municipality of Orihuela, let's imagine that there is an earthquake and you have to activate your emergency protocols. Is there any tool now in the municipality in order to communicate with the first responders or to check how is the emergency managed, or is just simply something written in the emergency plan and that you activate it? So how is it working now? I don't know if
Sergio, me vas a permitir hablar en castellano, ¿vale? Va a ser más sencillo para mí, porque si no, igual me van a entender menos. Entonces, haz el favor e intenta traducirlo. A ver, nosotros estamos como en cualquier municipio en el cual, bueno, en este caso, que somos ciudad de gran población, tenemos el CECOPAL y lo tenemos muy protocolizado. Y funcionamos a base, en cuanto nos llega una alerta y tenemos que activarlo, funcionamos mediante SMS. Por el tema de las redes, por si caen, pues bueno, el SMS siempre nos da bastante soporte. A partir de ahí convocamos a todos los miembros del CECOPAL, en el cual están todos nuestros arquitectos e ingenieros, y tanto políticos como los equipos de emergencias que tenemos municipales. Una vez que se convoca el CECOPAL, el presidente es el alcalde o alcaldesa, y a partir de ahí ya empezamos a determinar cómo funcionamos. Funcionamos mediante Tetra, junto con policía local, y mediante llamada de teléfono a la agencia valenciana, donde ponemos conocimiento de la situación, y ahí es cuando vamos interactuando con ellos.
So, and from what Paco has told, there is not a common platform. It's not like the military emergency unit that they have their own platform. So, so in that way, it could be interesting to have a common or something that we have developed.
A ver, en principio, Sergio, como he comentado, eso es para activar de alguna manera la emergencia. Luego sí que nosotros tenemos una una aplicación que le llamamos Emergest, que mediante dispositivos electrónicos, ahí sí que estamos todos comunicados y geolocalizados, es decir, vamos con tablets o smartphones donde en la calle se reparten a los diferentes cuerpos de seguridad y respuesta a las emergencias, y los técnicos municipales desde el CECOPAL, desde el propio CECOPAL, y con esa aplicación sí que vamos en tiempo real un poco grafiando mediante mapas, en este caso con el Google Maps, los cortes de calle, las actuaciones que se están llevando a cabo, etcétera. Entonces, sí que tenemos una aplicación, pero es bastante rudimentaria, y con eso es con lo que nos vamos moviendo. No sé si he contestado a la pregunta.
Sí. Entonces, con eso, es decir, para vosotros, ¿qué sería más interesante? ¿Sobre lo que tenéis, integrar la parte científica o tener una plataforma como la que hemos hecho nosotros que integra la parte científica y la parte de protocolos de emergencia?
Bueno, entiendo que vuestra plataforma es bastante más completa y muy interesante, por lo que nos interesaría mucho por integrarla en nuestro sistema.
So, as you can see, they are more interested in the whole platform as a municipality in order to manage the emergency. So.
If we assume, first, the platform, it has different components. So you have the components of OEF forecasting, earthquake forecasting. You have components of early warning, component of rapid response, and then you have component for decision-making system, right? So it might be like, for example, if you already have your own system that consider not only earthquake but also other type of hazards, and you only want one layer, then it's just all about understand the system that you have, and then we can definitely take one of the components or the whole them and then inject them in your system. So this will be the best way, instead of having another platform in your desk, yeah, because it doesn't make sense that you jump from tools to another tools. The best will be that you have one system and then you have different layers. Each layer deals with a given hazard, flood, for instance, and then inside you have all the algorithm or protocols that deal for the flood, protocols for the earthquakes. So this will be the best option. Or if you don't have at all the platform, then yes, then the whole system can be integrated and implemented for your region. Yeah. So I know there is some platforms that already have. So if they don't have problem of interoperability, then it will be much easier. Then we can very easily integrate the turnkey platform. So it's just about understand what type of interoperability we need in order to to merge them, and then you have only one system. So instead of changing system with another system, this doesn't make sense. It's not practical really, because you have already trained people for, I don't know, many years or whatever, they are used to that system, and then suddenly you are coming up with another tools. So yeah, it doesn't make sense.
I have another, it's more a question also. With the focus, I cannot see if Jose Antonio Huesca is here.
Me acaba de salir.
¿Y Paco Martínez? Paco, I see you there. Okay. Because on Monday we saw a presentation, well, in fact, we saw two presentations. One from Maria Sofia, who spoke about the Lorca earthquake, and how the emergency was managed there, and also from Jose Antonio, speaking about the force that we have developed here in Spain in order to get the information from observation of damage after an earthquake. And for example, I know that Paco Martinez developed is also a tool which is mainly focused on and Paco, correct me if I'm wrong, mainly focused on acquiring detailed information of the damage after an earthquake. So my question is more how Turkey can be developed in the future. So if, for example, a country or a region like Murcia or Alicante has a specific tool for compile damage information from earthquakes, how that can be integrated within Turkey to improve the rapid damage estimation, the maps of rapid damage estimation, for example.
Yeah,
have you thought about a future development of Turkey in that sense? Because now you only take the photo, and the photo only says that the damage degree, and that's all. But if you can compile detailed information of, you know, we have a very detailed form with many aspects that can be. I don't know if Paco, maybe you can explain a little bit. Do you understand what I want to say?
Obviously, yeah. I would say any part of Turkey can definitely be developed further. So. Yeah, it's all depend on what type of functionality we are talking about, and also the methodology. And
I only see I only assist today, and I cannot see your platform yesterday in the demo. I apologize for this. I'm sorry, but the question is to connect to two platforms. Is your platforms that I think that have the interpretation, the possibility to analyze the information that some sensors or some data provide to this platform. In our platform is a damage assessment platform for the coordinator and for the inspectors, the technician, architect, engineer that do a quickly damage assessment using a form, and get specific data from each building with damage, and with a triage, and do a triage of the damage. If the possibility if this building have the possibility to provide the habitability to the population, to the citizens. The idea is to connect this information, because we don't analyze this information, we only provide a tool for the coordinator and for the inspectors. This tool is the coordinator can see the evolution of the damage assessment and can see the result of this damage assessment, but don't analyze the information that have inside the form. For example, the action to do. If the technician say in the form that must to coordinate or evacuate this building, actually this information is in the phone. You can print it, you can use it, but there are no system that analyze this information and provide information to the firefighter or to the police to send people to evacuate it. There are possibility to connect both interface, both platforms to get this information and provide this information to the last.
There is an option. I think there is an option in the graphical interface where it sends instructions to people who are in field, the field first responders and all the stakeholders. So we do have these options. It sends instruction, and then people who are in the field also they can also provide the notes, and then they have predefined the level of the damage they can send with the description. So we do have this, but yeah, I don't know what form that you want to have as a. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Because so far now we do have this. I mean, in terms of people on the ground, they have a list of the damage level, and each damage level it has already predefined meaning. So when they select one of this damage, then it's, they know what is it about, and then the decision maker who is operating the whole situation will send instruction. But also this information that we are collecting from the ground is also integrated to the initial damage map that was generated, and then it's updated.
Yes, but probably the other is more specific
Yeah.
instead of defining immediately the level of damage. Probably, I guess, is did you see this? You see this? You see this? Okay, then.
It will be very difficult in emergency situation. I have been in such emergency situation. It's important that what you are feeling, it's easy to be done quickly. So if you have so many things to send it.
After a couple of days, probably.
Oh, okay, this is another. Yeah. Okay.
The discussion now goes also in the direction how flexible the whole thing is. And we have tried to make the whole platform as modular as possible. So that, for example, if scientists are coming with a new algorithm to do this and this calculation, let me say quickly calculate the magnitude of an event, super new fast algorithm, it's not a big problem to exchange it against the algorithm which is now implemented, or other calculations of damage, of risk, and all these things. The different calculation steps are relatively isolated and can be exchanged against new algorithms or new procedures. So there we tried to be as flexible as possible from the beginning, so that we are also see some future for the whole thing.
Just to say something. Yeah, when we designed the platform at first place, it was very important that the graphical interface it's easy to read, especially when it comes also to the app that are people on the ground and they are using app, because remember this is an emergency situation. And they need to act fast, and they need to jump from place to place. So what is required from them, it's very limited in terms of questions. The most important questions they collect that are quickly needed because they need to define or already confirm what are the most damaged regions so that they will send support to that region. So we have limited the number of questionnaire with predefined answers, so in order not to delay the process of emergency action.
She's coming.
So one very simple question that I was told was missing from the app is let the first responder type in how many wounded are on the site.
Yeah, okay. There is. We have, yeah, we have. Because
So they make a distinction between dead and wounded or trapped.
yeah, okay.
So still alive, but wounded or
yeah,
trapped.
okay, yeah. So, But they can send a text, isn't it? They can send comment notes, so probably, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Hi. One comment from me, because I come from the communication part, which is not the system itself. But I would suggest that you have, bear in mind at least, to have a good risk analysis in communication channels. It's a vital thing, because if that breaks, you have a system dead in water.
Yeah, this is another issue here. Of course, if you have your system communication breaks, then the whole system doesn't work. Yeah.
It's when installing a system like this is a vital.
Yeah, of course, yeah. It's always, especially when it's a very strong earthquakes, everything goes off, electricity and everything is shut down. So yeah. You need to have something in order to make sure that the communication it's. Yeah.
They are not earthquake free.
And this is a general problem for all the emergency and first responder people, how to guarantee communication. And at the moment we are just assuming, hoping that where the computer is standing and calculating the things, nothing is breaking down. But of course it would be much better if this is at a place where there is some non-interruptible power supply and such things. But this is a general problem for the people in emergency control rooms. And within the project, we could not really think in such directions. It is outside of the scope. Yeah, we were concentrating on the earthquake question alone. But of course, it's clear, one needs redundancy, one needs, as I said.
No sé si mis compañeros nacionales, si tienen cualquier pregunta y quieren hacerla en castellano, no hay ningún problema en que yo la traduzca, ¿eh? No more questions. Should we make a closing of the?